Okay, so we've logged into MRI and we're going to use the MRI Reporter feature. First, we choose a report volume. Let's select the 2009 fall product base. This is a nationally representative survey of American consumers. And let's investigate, I'll pick something random. Let's do tobacco. Let's find out about people who use cigarettes. Our base is all adults in the study in the fall 2009 product survey. And our target that we're interested in, people who smoked in the last 12 months. Okay, so these are things that we might want to learn, characteristics of people who are smokers in the last 12 months. First of all, let's look at our total. Our total tells us a few things that are interesting. First, it estimates that 225.8 million, it's in thousands, are in our entire U.S. population, the lower 48 states. It's projected that 52 million people in this total are smokers who smoked in the last 12 months. So in other words, that's 23.1% of the entire total. And the index value here is 100. When we look at some other information, we'll see why this index value is useful and important. So this is sort of our baseline of the entire group. Well, let's take a look about people who have postgraduate degrees. I select this so you can see it easier. What we see here is that first, people that have postgraduate degrees in total are 20.2 million people. Of that group, 2.26 million meet the criteria of smoked in the last 12 months. So in other words, 11.2%, this number divided by that number. It's how you always interpret that. Or in total, the entire, compared to the in total, we have 4.4% of the U.S. population that are smokers meet the criteria of having a postgraduate degree. This index value here is 48 compared to the baseline of everyone. If you have a postgraduate degree, you're much, much less likely to be a smoker. Okay, so we've seen the basic way the MRI Reporter can be used and interpreted. Let's look at a hypothetical marketing scenario and see how a marketer may apply the information gained from looking at MRI Reporter. Let's imagine that we are an advertising agency working with Blue Device. Blue Device is a vaporizer, electronically charged cigarette device. It's like a cigarette, except it doesn't smell like a cigarette. It can be used in many public places that a cigarette cannot be used because it does not give off a foul odor. And it's a new thing that people are interested in, and obviously Blue Device is very interested in reaching cigarette smokers who want to still live a social lifestyle. So the people of Blue Device, or we the advertising agency, might reason that the people that would be really valuable to market to are those people who've tried to stop smoking. So let's look at smoking cessation. Let's look at all adults for now. And let's see our target, anyone who's tried to quit cold turkey in the last 12 months, which is not a particularly successful way of quitting smoking. Of course, many ways aren't very successful. And let's see if we can find some information that might help us figure out where we should put our advertisements for Blue Device. We want to find people who are watching or reading or listening to media and have tried to quit cold turkey, because maybe they are really good potential customers for us to try to reach. So again, we have our results here. Let's sort by index. Again, we learned earlier that numbers less than 100 imply that the criteria on the left means they're less likely than the norm, and numbers higher than 100 in turn mean people with this criteria, whatever that criteria may be, are much more likely to have tried to, in our case, quit cold turkey. So we can actually click this button here and click by sort by index, and what we see here are turns out just sorts by the highest numbers. See, we have 398 here, and it goes down accordingly to all the way down to 148, and so on and so on. So what we see here is that people who read Penthouse magazine or watch Dirt Rider or read Dirt Rider magazine or Spin or PC Gamer or Black Enterprise or Game Informer are much more likely to have tried the cold turkey method to quit smoking. We know that's true because we look at these index values here and see that that's much higher. Now, it's worth noting that even though the index values are very high, notice that the overall percentage is still not very high of people who do this, who do one of these behaviors. For example, people who read Dirt Rider magazine are much more likely than the average, than the whole populace, to have tried the cold turkey method to quit. But compared to the entire readership, still only 6.2% of all people who read Dirt Rider magazine have tried to quit smoking using the cold turkey method. That's not surprising when we realize that not that many people smoke anyways, and of those who smoke, only so many have actually tried to quit cold turkey. So we see some information, we see some how a marketer might look at this and say, wow, perhaps we should publish magazine ads for Blue Device in Penthouse, Dirt Rider, Spin, PC Gamer, Black Enterprise. Obviously, there's still more information we'd want to know about the cost of the magazine intersectionals, exactly who that audience is. We're probably trying to reach a younger audience with the Blue Device, not an older senior audience. So we'd want to make sure that the readership of all these magazines meet other demographic characteristics that we think are relevant. But this does give a very interesting, insightful start. Now, one other thing I'd like to bring up here is you might have noticed that there's these little stars next to almost all of the things here in the index values. What do these stars indicate? Well, what the stars indicate are that since this fall 2009 product study here, it didn't obviously interview every single person in America. It took a sample. And then these values are, based on the sample's results, are projected onto the entire U.S. population. Well, since so few people in the sample read Penthouse, Dirt Rider, Spin, PC Gamer, that meant that their responses, because there's so few people, it's very uncertain if these projections onto the whole national population are actually true. They might be much lower, they might be much higher. Obviously, when you sample only a few people with a characteristic, you're much less certain how those results will project to the wider audience. Okay, so that's a little wrap up of how we can do MRI Reporter and gain some information that might be useful for marketing. Note also here that you can click this button and export this to an Excel spreadsheet to sort it, make cool charts, all kinds of neat things like that. And really, one of the best ways to learn how to use MRI Reporter is to play around with it. Try some other different things, see how you might use it, test yourself to see how you could interpret the results. Of course, all with a marketing spin, because you're a clever marketing researcher and want to know how to use this information in a way that's better than anyone else.